All right, everyone. Welcome to live talk number 6 of this week. It's the last live talk I'm doing before I have my big, super exciting announcement. And oh my God, guys, I'm so excited that I almost can't function. It's ridiculous, but functioning as best I can nonetheless. So today I really wanted to spend some time with you guys and ask or really answer any of your questions that you might have about any of the stuff that I've covered in the past 5 videos that I've had this week, if you guys have caught those. If not, you can always go to my website, caitlinblack.com. Everything's listed under freebies. So the past 5 videos from this past week are all on there for free for you guys forever. So feel free to access those and then maybe come back here or hang around. You guys can always go back later and watch those. So today I am talking to the ladies. I want to talk about how to access and how to talk to your inner highest level, next level, whatever you want to call it, self, right? Your inner goddess, your inner wild woman. When we're trying to make transitions into the next big thing, into the next level, into whatever it is that you're trying to transition to, you do not want to be talking to who you are right now in this current moment, right? The goal is to talk to the next level self. That way, when you make decisions, you're making next level decisions. It's kind of the way that you can best make the process more efficient. I'm trying to think of a better word than just slingshot your way into the future. Hi guys, say hello as you join. Let me know where in the world you are at. Ask questions as we go along. Today's going to be super fun, a little bit more relaxed than the past couple live videos, so I'm super excited. But yeah, accessing this inner wild woman, right? She doesn't come out easily, not for a lot of us. In the world that most of us live in, it's a very structured 9 to 5, 40+ hour a week, grind to make your money, work hard. Hopefully you get the opportunity to play hard, but that doesn't always happen, right? We're in a very stressful environment a lot of the time, right? We're constantly being inundated with more information. We're constantly being asked to do this, to do that, to adapt, to mold into this, right? There's all these things that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, and in order to fulfill that purpose, you have to be a certain version of yourself, right? So I love the idea of taking time to pause, especially let's say you guys do have a side hustle, you guys have a project that you work on outside of your normal work hours, you have a dream, you have a passion, you have something that you like to nourish. It is so important that if you're working another job as your profession, right? If you have a career and then you have a side hustle, if you've got 2 different parts of yourself, you have to pause to make that transition. Otherwise, you start to get that mindset of should do, have to, don't want to, but need to do into your side hustle, into your purpose, into your passion. And guys, purpose and passion and destiny is not driven by a should do this, have been told I should do this, need to do that. It's not coming from an outside authority figure. All of those decisions need to be made by you, and not just by you, by next level you, in order to keep you moving forward. Is all this making sense? Do you guys like what we're talking about today? This is one of my favorite things to talk about, so I'm always really excited to share. Cool, so no questions yet. So to talk a little bit more on how to access this mindset, right? Everyone's a little bit different. Not everyone's going to have the same ritual around it. Not everyone's going to have the same needs around it. But you start to realize when you're accessing that person and when you're not by acknowledging your boundaries, right? When you can start to set boundaries within your everyday life or within your 9 to 5 or within the current position that you hold that maybe isn't your passion, that maybe isn't your side hustle, something that you're not maybe super in love with, when you start to set boundaries for yourself that apply no matter where you're at in your life, no matter who you're speaking to, no matter what situation you're in, you start to get very clear on who the woman is behind that mindset making those decisions, who the woman is who needs those boundaries in order to be her most successful self, right? I know for me, I am definitely not someone who can balance a 9 to 5, 40 plus hours a week job and a side hustle. That never made sense to me. I could never, ever be complacent enough and be okay with myself, knowing that there is something that I'd rather be doing and there's a better purpose for it, and I can give more back to the world by doing this thing, and I'm just being told that I have to do this other thing in order to get there. Like, I never adopted that very well. Anyone who knows me in person knows that I have always been very stubborn and knows that if I don't want to do something, I typically don't do it, right? So say hello as you guys join. Let me know how you're doing on this beautiful Sunday. Yeah. So moving forward, if you're very clear on where your boundaries are at and why you have set them, and you know your boundaries don't have doors, don't have windows for you to get out of depending on the circumstance, right? Once you become very clear on your boundaries, you really start to get a taste of who that woman is behind there making all these decisions. Now, once you introduce yourself, really, to this wild woman that lives inside of you and has big dreams and big passions and big ambitions, right? Once you introduce yourself to her, it's very hard to deny her the freedom to act and the freedom to have a voice and the freedom to take motion in your life, right? I am all about having your passion at the forefront, directing you in your life, and then putting the must do, have to, need to, no should do's. I don't even believe in should do's on the back burner. Those are secondary things, right? If your needs are being met, if your boundaries are being respected, if you're clearly expressing your boundaries to the people that you work with, the people that you work for, all of these things, right? Action starts to become a lot easier to take in your life, especially towards your purpose, especially towards your passions. If you don't clear the way, in a sense, for your more feminine, energetic, emotional self to start making decisions from an intuitive place, how are you ever going to let that person, that wild woman step forward? How is she ever going to have a voice, right? If she's constantly being met with obstacle after obstacle after obstacle and having to say, wait a minute, we have to deal with this obstacle before I can have creative freedom, when is she ever going to get to speak? When does she ever get to make the decision? She doesn't, right? So you do have to create a reality that you can work in. You have to create something for yourself that allows you to have the wiggle room that you need based off of your boundaries in order to thrive. Hi, Ian. Thanks for joining today's Instagram chat. You've been here every day. That's so awesome. So just to recap, guys, if you're new to the conversation today, we are talking all about unleashing your wild woman, allowing her to step forward. And if you're a guy, unleashing your more intuition-based self, right? More of the emotion-based self. So when we unleash that self, suddenly everything in life starts to become a very clear yes or a very clear no, because this is the part of yourself that is not afraid to set boundaries and not afraid to respect them, right? I feel like growing up as a millennial, I was taught that the more skills I had under my belt, the more variety I had to offer, the more moldable I was, the more valuable I would become in a career, within a business. And though that may hold true in some instances, I truly do not believe that that is the case, right? I can't speak for every career path because I haven't explored every career path, but from what I understand, the skills that I've honed in on, the skills that I have pretty much perfected for myself at this point, have always been the skills that gave me the success that I experienced in whatever job I was doing, right? My first job I had after moving out of the house and getting my own apartment and starting fresh as an adult in the world, I worked at LA Fitness, guys, and I worked as a sales counselor, essentially. All the new members would come sit at my desk. I would take them through this little mini workout, and then I would basically talk them into buying personal training contracts, right? And then I would get commission off of that. And guys, seriously, I climbed the LA Fitness ladder, the sales ladder, faster than anyone had ever done it in our district before. I was the youngest to ever do it. I was the fastest to ever do it. I was on fire, and you know why? It's because I understood people's pain. I understood what they were wanting, and I understood what they were asking for. Like, it's just something that I became very good at from a very young age and have pretty much perfected at this point, right? That's a skill of mine. Now, am I a great personal trainer? No. I myself need a personal trainer to get the motivation, like going and torture myself in a gym. Like, I am not born to be a personal trainer, right? But like, I know a beautiful woman, Leah, if you're out there, I am speaking to you. Leah is this insanely inspirational teacher. She is this personal trainer, yoga teacher, like embodiment of power and muscle and like lean, just insane awesomeness, right? And she does such a great job at inspiring people to get healthy, to get fit, to find that place in their soul and let it come to the surface and start making decisions, right? In one way or another, guys, everything that we're doing, everything that we are teaching, everything that anyone is ever offering for people to buy is to let that deeper part of yourself thrive, right? We buy convenience items for the kitchen so that we can save time, so that we can do more of the things that we love doing, right? We buy things like magazines that teach us how to be healthy and how to be good parents so that we can have healthier children and better experiences with our kids and better experiences with our families, right? We're constantly buying items that allow us to let that deepest part of us come up and thrive. But here's the secret, guys. You don't necessarily have to buy the thing that's going to save you time, right? You don't necessarily have to buy the more affordable, lack of quality, more quantity thing so that you can save money. You don't have to start doing less to save your energy so that you can go do more of the things that you want to do, right? All of these things are perspectives. They're these deeply rooted beliefs that we have about energy and time and money, right? If I believe that I have more than enough energy to do the things that I want to do and the things that need to be done in order to facilitate those things that I want, I will have more than enough energy to do so. Now, that's not to say that people don't have health issues. It's not to say that the mind controls everything, but the mind has a good bit to do with our success. Cool. As you guys hop on, say hello, ask questions. Let me know where in the world you are watching from because I have got a lot of new faces. Build Success with Wendy. Hey, girl, thanks for tuning in. Got a little thumbs up on Instagram. Cool. I'm surprised there's this many of us available on a Sunday. This is awesome. You know what this tells me? She's in Arizona. Welcome, Wendy. Cool. What time is it in Arizona? I'm curious. Florida will be joining Arizona and not changing our clocks back this year, which is interesting. We'll be a completely different time from the East Coast. But cool. Is this stuff resonating with you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, 3:49. Cool. Very cool. I wish it was still 3:49 here. We have all the power we need to change our perspective, right? And if you guys go back to videos 1 through 5 that I have listed on CaitlinBlack.com/freebies, you guys can catch up on a little bit more of like the belief talk that I had earlier this week. That basically, if you can shift your beliefs about your reality, if you can shift your beliefs about your limitations, suddenly they're not so limiting, right? It doesn't mean that they disappear, but it means they don't hold the power that you think that they currently hold right now, which is a super empowering thing. Right? As a success coach, as a freedom coach, as some people are calling me, I do not fix your problems, right? I guide you into the mindset you need individually for you to conquer those beliefs and then shift into new ones and then start taking actions from those new places. That's usually what's missing from most people's puzzle, guys. We always think about things. We always contemplate things. We do all the journaling. We do all the meditating. We do all the talking to our therapist, but then we never take action, right? That's the whole point. You have to take action in order to create the opportunity for anything to change. So I want to talk a little bit more about bringing out the wild woman when we're making decisions, right? Bringing out that next level, highest self, the goddess self, whatever you want to call it. For men, it's that emotional but empowered self, right? Bringing that part to the forefront of our minds and letting them take a peek at our reality. What does she think? You know, is she happy with what she sees? What would she change? What is she craving? What is it that she needs in order to thrive, in order to stay in flow, in order to stay inspired? in order to continue giving whatever it is that you feel your purpose is here to give, right? We're all service-based, whether our job title is businessman, CEO, or holistic health coach, or spiritual advisor, or pastor, or whatever, artist. Like, literally everyone is here to share something that gives something to someone else, and it's catering to that inner self. At least that's the base bone of it, right? It doesn't mean it always sounds that way or looks that way, but everyone's always trying to get in touch with your inner wild woman, with your inner empowered self. So when you bring this person up to the surface, when you say, okay, what do I want my life to feel like in a year? Dream world, time doesn't exist, money doesn't exist. I don't need money or time or skills or anything to get to the place where I want to be. Where do I want to be? Right? Get crystal clear on what it feels like, on what's around you, on the things that you're doing, and on the people that you're around. Get crystal clear on all of those feelings, on all of those images. Get it visualizing in your head, put it down on paper, bring it into reality in one way or another. Call up your best friend and tell her, look, I would love to live like this. This is what would fill my cup the most. My inner self wants this for me, wants this more than anything else for me. There we go. Talking about a second self is like such a weird thing to introduce into a conversation. But once you get super clear on that feeling, then let the woman who wants to live that life make your decisions, right? If your inner wild woman, right, is looking at a program or is looking at the next tool that you think is going to help you succeed in your business, or is looking at the next big investment that you want to make in yourself, and she says, oh my God, yes. And then all of a sudden you have a little fear gremlin say, but what about your bank account? What about the credit card bill? I can't make that money this month. That money will never show up. Right there, you've acknowledged your first limiting belief, that the reality that's in front of you is all you have to work with, and there's nothing else, nothing beyond that. Nothing greater than that. Guys, I am here to tell you that I am literally living proof that that is not the case. Anytime I have ever decided that this has to work, I am investing in this, I'm taking this leap because I have to, or else I am going to go insane, right? I couldn't suppress it down anymore. Yeah, Build Success with Wendy says negativity bias is the pits. Yes, it is the pits, girl, absolutely. Yeah, Wendy hit it on the head. Like, that's just it. Negativity bias, right? Thinking that your reality is limited. Thinking that what you have isn't enough. Thinking that you're struggling as it is, right? And we all have different realities, guys. I can only relate from my struggles. I'm by no means trying to disempower anybody from their journey, but I am here to tell you that you have all the permission in the world to decide that it's not going to hold you back, right? It's one decision. It's changing one belief. I believe it's Tony Robinson who says it's a 2mm shift, right? It's so small. You just have to believe that you have everything you need to take the steps that you were being called to take, and that the rest will inherently figure itself out because you're going to make it work. That's a belief. Your reality is the densest reflection of your consciousness, and your subconsciousness, your consciousness, is simply an embodiment of your beliefs. The whole foundation of it is built off of belief. So if you can believe that you're not limited and that this is going to work and that you will find a way, it will all happen. There's a divinity to it. You lean in to trusting your gut. You lean in to believing your intuition, and you nourish that relationship. Right? At first, you might not have super strong yes, super strong no coming from your intuition, right? And there's different kinds of responses. For women, I know I've got two very different responses. I've got a gut yes, and I've got a womb yes. I know when it's my inner high-level goddess self saying, I have to take this. I don't know why. I can't make sense of it right now, but I'm going to trust it. Right? Every time I lean into that trust, every time I lean into that intuition, it never fails me. Because guys, here's the reality of it. 9 chances out of 10, the things that are going to stimulate those sensations of gut feelings are going to be something that scares you in this reality, right? For me, investing $2,500 in a 1-month program was the scariest shit I had seen in years. That's a lot of money, right? Hey, Nick, thanks for joining us on Instagram. I see you. In my mind at that point, that was so much money. I hadn't made that much money in a month ever. Well, maybe not ever, but close to ever, right? I was completely boggled, but there was just this feeling of intention and of fear, and I had just enough courage to try it out. And you know what, guys? Instantly, I had the energy, I had the time, and the money arrived, right? And all I did was create the opportunity for the 3 to fall in line. That's it. It's all about action. There's a little bit of strategy involved, but the rest is trusting your intuition, getting very clear on who you are at the core, and making decisions from that place, acting out of a level of your highest level self. If you're constantly making decisions from next level you will constantly get next level results. Do you guys understand that? It's so simple. Like, it takes work to get clear on who that is and on what your true desires are, because we have got a lot of inundated noise, right? We have a lot of people telling us that we want money for this reason, you need bills for that reason, you need the house for this reason, you need the car for that reason, you need X amount of Instagram followers before you're ever a professional whatever, right? We have all these people telling you that you need these things, and do you believe it? Do you want to believe that? It's a choice. You get to choose what's true for your reality. And I know to some of you that's going to sound crazy, but eventually you're going to understand it. If this doesn't make sense right now, slowly and surely the seed has been planted, and you're going to see this turn up in your life, and then you can thank me later, right? I'm sure 8 more people are going to tell you the same thing in different words, and someday the right person is going to have just the right time with you with just the right words, and suddenly all of it is going to make sense. You're going to have this aha moment of, oh my God, it's that simple. How didn't I know this before? It was right in front of me. All I had to do was blank, and they're going to give you that answer. And the best part is, the answer was always there. It's not that you guys ever didn't know what to do. It's not that you guys were ever misled. It's not that anyone has ever come in and hurt you so deeply that you lost yourself. You hold permission over who gets to come into your energy and who gets to affect you, down to its deepest core. I truly, truly believe that. I've met so many women who have been through so many traumas, so many things that you would think would break someone beyond the point of functioning. But guys, I'm going to be honest, these are the people who rise up and have the greatest things to share with the world, because they didn't choose to let it in. They didn't choose to let it disarm them of the perfect embodiment of who they are, right? Does this make sense? Is this resonating with you guys? It's such a powerful thing to be in charge of your life, to take responsibility for your actions. And it goes beyond just saying, yeah, that was my fault because I made those choices. No. It starts at saying, who's going to make those choices for me? Is it going to be the person who is built off of the past? Or is it going to be the person who I want to be tomorrow, today, right? You get to choose when that person gets to show up. Not your reality, not your circumstances, not your money, not your bank account, not your investments, not your car, not your house, not your boyfriend, not your wife, not your dog. Nobody. You. Only you. That's the only thing stopping you is you. Always. Forever. The most miraculous stories come out of people who have experienced the greatest suppression, who have come up. I hope you guys can't hear that. My boyfriend just turned his speakers on and is playing music. It's so loud. I don't even know if he knows I'm doing a live right now. But yeah, guys, it's so simple. All you have to do is choose what you want to believe. Choose what is no longer serving you, and make it very clear that you are not available for that shit anymore. You're not going to make actions that even begin to allow any of that to come into your life anymore. And as soon as you set that in stone, as soon as you get very clear on what that looks like, on what that feels like, and on the opposite of all of that, right? What you want it to feel like, what you want it to look like, suddenly decisions become easy yes, no's, and that's it. You have clarity, you have control, you've got direction always. Does this make sense? Let's see any comments. You guys are so in power of your own reality. You get to choose everything that you experience. And that's not to say that people aren't going to come in. And yes, Wendy, totally, absolutely. Right? And that's not to say that people aren't going to come in and try to remind you of what their reality looks like. Right? Anytime I talk to a lot of the people around me about the things I want to do, and you know, how I just quit all my jobs and pursued freedom coaching as my profession, you know, when I tell that to people, initially they look at me and they're like, are you insane? Like, because they've never taken any leaps like that. When you guys are starting to explore these options that you have, the freedom that you have in your life, people are going to doubt you, especially if they've never experienced it for themselves. How could you expect them to understand if they've never tasted the magic, right? Yes, that's badass, Wendy. I agree. And the best part is, you could, like, that is you. You are a badass. Everyone can be a badass. You just have to choose to be, right? So when you first get your ideas, when this wild woman, when this empowered man comes up for you, do not doubt him. Do not doubt her. Let them have the space, the privacy, and the security that they need to speak. Let them be honest with you. Be honest with yourself. I don't care how bad it scares you. I don't care how insane it sounds. You're not crazy. You are not crazy. You are not crazy, right? Crazy is like, compared to what, right? Like, compared to who can buy a mall, like compared to who can be a CEO, compared to who cannot graduate high school and still be sick, like, compared to what? Crazy compared to what? Maybe compared to your hometown? Yeah, because 85, 95, maybe more percent of the population isn't taking crazy leaps. They're following what they need to follow to get security. But guys, there's ways that you can create stability and success within your passions, within your freedoms, with just a tiny, tiny bit of strategy. Just a tiny bit. You don't need a lot, right? I am not a marketing guru. I am not some business CEO chick, right? I'm just a person with a passion who knows her boundaries, who knows what she needs to be nourished, and knows what she has to give people, right? And I know what it takes for people to fully show up and receive. I'm so clear on everything I need to do, on everything I need to feel. I'm so clear on my boundaries, and know when the opportunity comes for me to take on X, Y, and Z yoga classes, it's probably not for me and you should go talk to another yoga teacher, right? I know that I don't need things that aren't going to fill my cup to be successful. So I don't take on things that don't fill my cup. If it's a time that I don't want to teach a class, I don't take on the class, no matter how much they're going to pay me. It's not worth it. I would rather have a cup that is overflowing so that I can stay in flow and give the people who need to hear the things that I'm here to give, the things that I'm here to act as a tool that can move through me. I'm here to do that, not make $25 teaching a yoga class. You know, everyone has a purpose. Everyone will find it at different times in their life. And some people will never allow themselves to fully relax into it because it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of belief in yourself, right? It takes a little bit of like going out on a limb. If you guys could hear this, like, he's gonna be so embarrassed. It takes a leap of faith. You know, that's the most clear way I can convince you guys, or I can not even convince. I'm not here to convince you of anything. It's the best way I can communicate to you guys how it felt for me. I finally trusted that feeling. And guys, if you've had it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The feeling that says, oh my God, my boss just did that, and that felt really uncomfortable. Or the feeling that says, I don't know, I just don't think I should go out tonight. I don't really know why, but, or the feeling that says, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna get the fish tonight at dinner, or I'm not gonna get the thing with all the cheese on it, and then everyone else gets food poisoning and you don't. Right? We all have that intuition. And once you get to know it, the more and more it will show up, the stronger it shows up, and the harder it gets to say no to it. My biggest piece of advice for anybody is that when you're approaching a decision, when you're investing anything into anything, whether it's time, energy, money, a mixture of the three, whatever, ask your gut, ask your highest self, ask the person who is living in the future, your ideal future, and not the person who's sitting here in front of you looking at the mirror going, oh my God, I have a gray hair and I'm 25. Like, right? Like, don't embrace that life if that's not for you. Ask your highest self, is this the next step? Like, seriously, guys, close the eyes, put your hand on your heart, a hand over your belly, take a deep breath, and then ask yourself, is this for me? And you will get a resounding yes. You'll get maybe a small yes if you're not used to your intuition speaking to you clearly, if you're afraid of your intuition, if you've suppressed your intuition, or you will get a no, or you just won't feel anything, right? So this thing that I am releasing, launching, setting free tomorrow has so much to do with everything that I just talked about. It has a lot to do with every single live talk that has led up to this moment. And I know that people who have been watching or have just tuned in for a moment, they've already felt the gut feeling. They've already felt the excitement, right? They already got the little glimmer of, oh my God, what have I stumbled onto, right? And if that's you, if you've started to feel that way, then please hang on until tomorrow, because I've got a very exclusive thing coming up that I'm sharing with a very exclusive amount of people that have a very, very big flame that's ready to like set fire to whatever it is that they want to unleash, right? What are you passionate about? What is your side hustle? What is it that when you're not working, you want to be doing? Or what is it that when you're working, you would rather be doing, right? What have you always been good at? What is the thing that when you were a kid, people are like, oh my God, she's so good at this. Oh my God, she has such a big mouth. Oh my God, she's such a character, right? Those are all things that I got as a child. Go figure. She's so dramatic with the hands and the eyes and the facial expressions. Like, yeah, I know. Trust me, guys, you wouldn't be the first people to tell me. But when you get so clear, guys, on what it is that at the core you really are craving to do, and when you start making decisions that nourish that and that allow that to have a little bit more space in your mind, a little bit more space in your body, a little bit more space in your reality, suddenly everything that you want about that becomes way more accessible. It's right in front of you. You just have to choose to let it be, right? Now, this takes a special kind of person. This takes someone who is very clear on what hasn't worked for them in the past. This takes someone who knows that what they have tried hasn't worked and that they're so exhausted from like swimming in place, basically, right? You're keeping your head above water, you're surviving, but dear God, you want to be on the island having a margarita, laying under the sun, going to your villa, marrying the man of your dream. You know what, like that, like you want more. Like you have high expectations for life and you are so sick and tired of them not being met. And you don't know where the heck it's going wrong on your part because you've done the meditation. You've done the self-study. You've done the journaling. And at this point, you don't even want to pick up a freaking pen because looking at the journal makes you want to cringe because you've got 8 of them filled up with the same story with the different names. You've got the same page written over and over and over and over again over the course of however many years it took you to write all that. And you don't want to write another page that looks like that. You don't want to write another page that feels like that. And I don't blame you. I didn't either. I've got 8 journals filled up of me trying to figure out what the freak I was supposed to be doing. And it wasn't that hard. The minute you get clear on what fills your cup, the minute you start to understand what your desires are, what is it that you want out of every day? Do you want to wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. and drive an hour and a half to work and make minimum wage? Does that feel good to you? Or do you want to make a shift towards something else? And maybe you don't know what that something else is yet, but you know it's something better than what you've got in front of you. You set the limitations. You choose the rules. Not everyone was designed to play by their rules, right? And when I say their, I don't necessarily know how to group that category, that group, how to name that group, but you know who I'm talking about, right? I went to a performing arts high school, all-girls boarding school and a dance scholarship. And I was surrounded by wealthy, talented, very blessed young women. And from the get-go, I was like, oh my God, how is that their reality? How is that even working for them? How do I get that? Right? I was constantly craving the thing that they had, but I kept having this story of I didn't have their childhood, and we don't make that kind of money, and I don't have that dance leotard, and I didn't get the special dance lessons at 4 years old, and I have 11 years of bad technique to overwrite. The minute I decided, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. Something has got to give. I have got to believe that I can catch up to these girls. I've got to catch up. And I did. For the most part, I didn't have perfect technique. But let me tell you guys, the minute I believed that I was just as worthy of being there, I was just as worthy of receiving a scholarship. I was just as worthy, just as ready, just as deserving, just as likely to be on that level. I got on that level. There was not a single scholarship that I auditioned for that I did not receive. And it wasn't because I had perfect technique. It wasn't because I was ready, emotionally, physically, any of that. It was because I believed I could do it. And people saw that. And people wanted me to receive it because I wanted to receive it. Bad enough to show up and put myself in the place where a lot of courage needed to be. And if alcohol could have been involved at that young of an age, I probably would have done that too. Just to have liquid courage coursing through my veins, to put myself out there, not be afraid to fail, and then succeed. And it's that simple. You guys can totally experience this in whatever it is that you're trying to do, but you have to believe you can. You have to get out of your own way. You got to let next level you take over for at least 3 seconds to make the decision, right? But that's it. After that, you're there. Your outcome from your actions becomes next level you. You get to step into next level reality because you took next level actions, right? You declared that your reality was no longer controlling you and that you got to decide what was next, and you did. And it wasn't through making some random decision. It wasn't through throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it stuck. It was through being real with yourself. What are my talents? What am I good at? What do I like doing? What makes me feel good? And how can we combine that into one thing and push it forward for the universe to take hold and give me an opportunity? And it will. Because how many people do you know who are doing that work, who are taking the leaps, and who are courageous enough to step out there and be willing to fail? Be willing to experience things other than what might appear to be success right away, right? None of any of the things that have happened to me have been failures. They've been opportunities that allow me to get even more clear on my desires. And I'm going to end this live chat with a small story. I think I've told it 3 times now this week, but it's just become such a great, such a great thing to relate to. So it was 11 p.m. This was probably a month ago. And I was craving coffee so bad, right? It's all I wanted was coffee. And who drinks coffee at 11 p.m. because then you're going to be up all night, and God knows I don't want to be up all night because then I'll go sleep all day. So I was beating myself up. Hey, Michael. Oh my God, so good to see you. Speaking of my dance days, Nice to see you, Michael. So I wanted coffee, and I was like judging myself so hard and making the declaration of like, yeah, I'm going to have coffee and I'm not going to judge myself for it so hard because it's 11 p.m., which doesn't matter at all, but still, nonetheless, bear with me. I had one jar of ground up decaf coffee left, a little glass jar because, yeah, I'm that person. And as I walked over to my pantry to grab it out of the pantry, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I managed to drop it and the whole thing shattered, right? Now, what was that? Why did that happen, right? If you're someone who likes to find reason for discomfort and likes to find, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to gain clarity in discomfort, well, I gained the opportunity to get clarity on if I really wanted coffee or not. Was it really worth it to have coffee at 11 p.m.? Am I sure I want coffee? And oh yeah, guys, trust me, as soon as the thing shattered, I was like, oh my God, I gotta make sure I have 2 filters in there so I'm not drinking glass. Like, I did everything I could to get that stupid coffee off the ground and stick it in my stupid coffee pot and then have my cup of decaf coffee at 11 p.m. And it shouldn't have been that hard of a decision, right? I shouldn't have fought it that hard. But my point here is that when you are making decisions from a place of desire, when you are trying to listen to what it is that you want and make decisions from that place, it is when you don't have clarity, and it's when you do not put your foot down about what the hell it is you're going after, that the universe is going to give you opportunity to experience discomfort, to experience failure, to experience something that's going to highlight your desire so that you can make the damn decision, right? Now, the coffee thing is a super abstract, silly way of thinking about this process, but I want you to think about the last time you felt so disappointed, right? For me, I can think about the auditions to get into like programs or to get into colleges for dance that I didn't get accepted into. The extreme defeat, the extreme disappointment, the heartbreak that you experience in not getting something that you so desperately want, right? But that happens because you stepped into that experience. You stepped into that opportunity with doubt. You didn't believe in yourself. You had this thing in the back of your head, this little gremlin saying, why should you be here? You've only been practicing for 2 years. You're not as pretty as her. You're not as wealthy as, like, whatever your excuse is, if you walk into your declarations, if you walk into your desires with that mindset, the universe is going to create an opportunity for you to get rid of that mindset. And it's up to you how much pain, how many opportunities you need to get through that shit. It's a belief. It's a mindset. The minute you believe you are your own authority figure, you become your own authority figure. And it's not as simple as just saying, okay, I don't believe that anymore. I believe this. Moving on. No, you have to set the belief in stone. Get so clear on the words. Be precise. Be accurate. Get clarity. And then decide how you can take action that is rooted in that belief to prove to yourself that it's right, right? The first thing you do that's acting on that belief is going to be the scariest shit ever, because you're trying to change your mind from a belief that you've probably had ingrained in your head since you were 4, right? I never said it was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And you got to build an environment that is nourishing this process, that allows you to identify your limiting beliefs, allows you to get clear on what it is you need to believe to reach your next goal, and allows you to take action from that place. And like I said, guys, that first leap is going to take a lot of courage. For me, that first leap was investing in a coach, even when I didn't have the money to do it. I was on a credit card. I was maxing out credit cards to do it. But I knew I had to do it. The courage had to come back. I had to get back into that place where I believed that though this said I couldn't do it, though that circumstance said it shouldn't be possible, that I believed it was possible because I've seen it act in my life before. I've seen it work. I needed to get back to that spot, and that's what I did. I did it. I took the courageous step. I leaped in. I dove in, and I said, show me what you got. I'm ready. What else have I not tried, right? And it worked. And I guarantee, guys, it will work for you. I have seen it time and time and time again. And now that I recognize it in myself, I see it in other people. I can tell you when someone's going to succeed at something based off of how they talk, based off of how they approach the thing that they want to succeed at, based off of how they talk to me about their limitations and about how much power they have over them. It's become a science. But it's a science anyone can master, and it's easy. All right, guys, that is all I have for tonight. I'm about to go hoarse. My heart is like beating out of my chest. Anytime I get into like a super serious flow of like it's just coming through me, like, oh my God, it's like I'm having a heart attack. It got so bad during my last mastermind, guys, that I literally was like, okay, I gotta take a breather. My stamina is getting better, I promise. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. My big announcement is coming tomorrow. I can't wait to share it. It has been such an insane week leading up to it. And it's just, God, it's so ready to be shared. It's so ready. You guys have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. If you hopped on here at the end and you want to catch back up at the beginning, or you want to see any of the lives from earlier this week, go to CaitlinBlack.com/freebies. You'll see it at the top of the webpage, and check out the other live videos. I think I might have wore this shirt yesterday's live, but I promise I just threw it on over my yoga clothes today because my yoga clothes is just super sweaty right now. So you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks for joining in, and we will see you tomorrow for my big announcement happening sometime before noon. I'll make the announcement tomorrow morning super early as to when exactly I'm going to drop the news. So have a great Sunday, guys, and thanks for tuning in.